Zarantine Commander Uko dismisses humans as frail, primitive weaklings, not realizing his species' arrogant underestimation of mankind will be the downfall of his invasion force, foiled by the sheer overwhelming scale of Earth's population. Uko observes humanity from his advanced scout ship orbiting high above Earth. He notes their crude technology, their frail bodies that appear so weak compared to the mighty Zarantine warriors bred for war, and the constant infighting between rival human nations and factions. Uko scoffs. The humans are a backwards, insignificant species, unworthy of respect. He reports his findings back to the Zarantine High Council. Earth will be simple to conquer, Uko assures them. The planet is ripe for exploitation, teeming with resources to strip. Its population will provide a fresh supply of slave labor for the Zarantine Empire. The High Council sees no need to commit significant military assets against such a feeble race. They dispatch a small invasion fleet to subjugate Earth, confident it will be a swift victory. As the Zarantine ships approach Earth, they unleash a coordinated assault to sow terror and confusion. Powerful energy weapons bombard major cities from orbit, blasting them to rubble. Communications across the planet are jammed. Swarms of sleek alien craft descend from the motherships, disgorging waves of heavily armed Zarantine shock troops. Clad in advanced powered armor and wielding plasma rifles, the aliens begin their ruthless advance to crush all resistance. In New York City, U.S. Army Sergeant Jesse Reed witnesses the beginning of the horrific alien attack. Buildings crumble under the onslaught of strange extraterrestrial weapons as Zarantine soldiers storm through the streets, cutting down anyone in their path. Despite the grim odds, Jesse rallies his squad to make a desperate stand. If the alien attack isn't slowed here, the invaders will rampage unchecked across the United States. Although outmatched by the Zarantine's overwhelming technological superiority, Jesse and his men dig in and prepare to fight to the last, determined to sell their lives dearly. As Jesse's squad engages the enemy in the war-torn NYC streets, the human soldiers demonstrate remarkable courage and tenacity against the Zarantine warriors. The alien weapons take a heavy toll, but Jesse adapts his tactics, using the urban terrain to his advantage. To Uko's surprise, monitoring from orbit, the humans even managed to bring down several of his soldiers through clever ambushes and sheer grit. Around the globe, the story is much the same as the world's militaries mobilized to repel the alien threat. Mankind stands united against a common foe, in defiance of the Zarantine's arrogant expectations that the primitive natives would meekly submit to alien rule. As the war intensifies, the Zarantine invaders make an alarming discovery. Earth is far more heavily populated than they ever imagined. Uko's scans had indicated mere hundreds of millions, but his sensors failed to penetrate the dense population clusters. In truth, the human race numbers in the billions, a staggering realization that hits Uko like a punch to the gut. The Zarantine are severely outnumbered, and Earth's military potential is far greater than anticipated. Doubt gnaws at Uko as his soldiers face a prolonged ground war against a tenacious species with a vast numbers advantage. The warlord is shaken to his core by his gross miscalculation and the unyielding human resistance. He begins to wonder if the Zarantine Empire has truly underestimated mankind. The arrogant aliens are about to learn some very hard lessons about human resolve and the consequences of underestimating their foes. As the war rages on, Uko realizes he badly miscalculated the strength and tenacity of the human resistance. The Zarantine warlord scrambles to adjust his strategy, barking orders to his subordinates aboard the command ship. Focus all efforts on securing their key cities and government centers, Uko growls. Capture their leaders. Once we cut off the head, the rest will fall into line. On the ground, Jesse Reed and his squad receive new orders. Reinforce the defenses around Washington, D.C. at all costs. As they arrive in the ravaged capital, they're thrust into brutal urban warfare against the aliens. Zarantine shock troops storm the city streets, unleashing plasma fire and hurling grenades as they try to punch through to the White House and Congress. Jesse and his men dig in, turning rubble-strewn streets and shattered buildings into impromptu fortifications. They fight back with everything they have, trading shots with the aliens and laying ambushes. The human soldiers use their knowledge of the city to their advantage, drawing the Zarantine into choke points and kill zones. Amid the chaos, Jesse gets word that the president and key government officials have been captured by the aliens, intending to display them as war trophies to crush human morale. He quickly assembles a crack team for a dangerous rescue mission. Moving fast and low, Jesse leads them through the war-torn streets, evading alien patrols and picking off Zarantine guards. They breach the alien-held compound in a hail of gunfire, battling through to the holding cells. In a close-quarters shootout with the warlord's elite guard, Jesse and his men manage to retrieve the president and evacuate the other officials. It's a desperately needed win for Earth and a PR blow to the Zarantine. But Uko's retaliation is swift and brutal. In a rage, the warlord unleashes powerful alien WMDs on several major cities, turning them into irradiated wastelands in seconds. Millions die in the blasts and the devastation is unimaginable. But instead of surrender, Earth's survivors harden their dedication to fight to the last. In labs and workshops across the planet, human scientists begin studying fragments of captured alien technology, trying to find weaknesses to exploit. A glimmer of hope arrives in the form of an elite special ops team that successfully infiltrates one of the orbiting Zarantine command ships. In a daring raid, they sabotage key systems and steal intel on alien force dispositions and supply lines before sacrificing themselves to detonate the vessel. The information reaches Jesse and other resistance leaders, revealing the Zarantine are overextended and struggling to control Earth's vast surface with their limited numbers. A plan takes shape for a coordinated global counterattack. Across the planet, humans leverage low-tech guerrilla tactics to bleed the aliens and force them to disperse their strength. IEDs, sniper attacks, and hit-and-run raids take a steady toll. Jesse and soldiers like him lead strikes on high-value alien targets, capturing weapons, equipment, and intel to use against the invaders. Uko's losses mount and several key footholds fall to the human resistance. The warlord pleads for reinforcements, but the Zarantine High Council balks at committing more ships and soldiers to a war that was meant to be a swift victory. On Earth, a captured alien fabricator allows human forces to start reverse engineering the invaders' advanced plasma rifles and power armor, tipping the balance. Tens of millions flock to volunteer for the resistance, providing a steady stream of fresh troops. Uko seethes aboard his flagship, watching his conquering army be ground down by a species they dismissed as primitive. Humans continue to defy his attempts to quash their resistance. He vows to make them pay for every Zarantine life lost on what should have been an easy conquest. As the brutal war of attrition escalates, both sides gird themselves for a long, bloody struggle, with the fate of Earth and humanity itself hanging in the balance. The skies above Earth darkened as a massive Zarantine armada arrived in orbit. Uko's eyes gleamed with savage anticipation as he surveyed the reinforcements. Legions of elite shock troopers and devastating new weapon systems would turn the tide of this unexpectedly difficult war. "Launch the assault," Uko commanded. "Show these primitives the true might of the Zarantine Empire." Across multiple continents, the renewed blitzkrieg began. Missile barrages rained down from orbit, decimating human defensive lines. Dropships swarmed major cities, disgorging waves of heavily armed troops. In Chicago, Sergeant Jesse Reed crouched behind a crumbling concrete barrier as plasma fire sizzled overhead. His squad was pinned down, struggling to hold the line against the Zarantine onslaught. "We can't let them take the waterfront," Jesse shouted over the din of battle. "Too many civilians still need evac." Private Rodriguez peeked over cover, firing his rifle. "We're outnumbered 10-1, Sarge. What's the play?" Jesse's mind raced. They needed a bold move to turn this around. "Cover me!" he yelled, vaulting over the barrier. Jesse sprinted through the chaos, dodging alien fire. He slid behind an overturned truck, grabbing a fallen comrade's grenade launcher. Taking careful aim, he fired a volley at the Zarantine's exposed flank. The explosions threw the alien formation into disarray. "Now, push them back!" Jesse roared. His squad charged forward, capitalizing on the aliens' confusion. In brutal close-quarters combat, they drove the Zarantine back street by street, Jesse fought like a man possessed, his rifle blazing. As the tide turned, Jesse noticed a Zarantine officer frantically trying to destroy a data pad. Jesse tackled the alien, wresting the device away. His eyes widened as he scanned the intel. "Oh, shit," he breathed. The Zarantine's next target was a top-secret weapons facility in Colorado, humanity's best hope for developing countermeasures against alien tech. Jesse knew he had to act fast. He called in an urgent sit-rep to command, emphasizing the critical nature of the threat. To his relief, his superiors agreed. Within hours, an elite joint task force was assembled. Their Osprey touched down at the Colorado facility just as alarms began blaring. A massive Zarantine strike force was inbound. "Looks like we got here just in time for the party," Jesse quipped grimly as he and his squad rushed to fortify the facility's defenses. The sky filled with Zarantine dropships. Jesse barked orders, coordinating the defenses as alien troops swarmed towards them. The humans fought with desperate courage, but were steadily pushed back by overwhelming numbers. Jesse realized they needed a game changer. He gathered a small team for a high-risk mission. "We're going to hit their primary LZ," he explained. "Take out their command and control, throw them into chaos." They infiltrated the Zarantine landing zone under cover of darkness. Jesse's team planted high-yield explosives on key systems and fuel reserves. The resulting chain reaction crippled the alien assault. As Jesse's team fell back, he spotted a damaged Zarantine dropship. A crazy idea formed. "Cover me!" he yelled, sprinting for the alien craft. After a tense few minutes figuring out the controls, Jesse managed to get the ship airborne. He flew it back to the human facility, where panicked scientists and invaluable research data were loaded aboard. Moments after Jesse's daring evacuation, the facility fell to the Zarantine, but humanity's best minds and their vital work had been saved. Aboard his command ship, Uko seethed with rage at this latest setback. He ordered a series of punitive bombardments, unleashing fearsome weapons on Earth's population centers. As casualties soared into the tens of millions, humanity teetered on the brink. But Jesse and others like him refused to give up hope. They would find a way to defeat the Zarantine menace, or die trying. Jesse Reed stood before the assembled strike team, his face grim but resolute. "This is it, people. Our one shot to hit the Zarantine where it hurts." The plan was audacious. Infiltrate the massive alien command ship in orbit and cripple its systems from within. Success could turn the tide of the war. Failure meant certain death. Using stolen Zarantine tech and intel extracted from captured aliens, Jesse's team slipped past the ship's outer defenses. They moved through the alien vessel in eerie silence, magnetic boots clanking softly against metal floors. Suddenly alarms blared. "We've been made!" shouted Rodriguez. Jesse's team erupted into action as Zarantine guards poured into the corridor. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air. Jesse dove behind cover, returning fire with his modified alien rifle. The humans fought their way to the command deck in a series of brutal firefights. Jesse's heart pounded as he rounded the final corner and came face to face with Uko himself. The alien warlord towered over Jesse, eyes blazing with hatred. Uko swung a massive energy blade, narrowly missing Jesse's head. Jesse rolled and fired, his shots deflecting off Uko's armor. He ducked another swing and slammed the butt of his rifle into Uko's knee. As the alien staggered, Jesse tackled him to the ground. They grappled fiercely, Jesse straining against Uko's inhuman strength. With a desperate surge, Jesse managed to tear off Uko's helmet and slam the alien's head against the deck. Uko went limp. "Command deck secure," Jesse called out. His team rushed to their assigned tasks, initiating the data purge and seizing control of the ship's main cannon. Explosions rocked the vessel as they used the cannon to bombard nearby Zarantine ships. In the chaos, Jesse spotted Uko limping toward an escape shuttle with his surviving officers. Before Jesse could pursue, klaxons wailed. The ship's self-destruct sequence had been activated. "We've got 30 minutes, Jesse shouted. "Plant the charges and fall back to the extraction point." As his team retreated, Jesse realized with sinking dread that someone needed to stay behind to complete the mission. "Get to the shuttle," he ordered. "I'll finish up here and be right behind you." Jesse fought a one-man war against waves of Zarantine boarders, buying time for his team to escape. Blood and sweat stung his eyes as he battled alien after alien in visceral close-quarters combat. With seconds to spare, Jesse destroyed the final systems. His hands flew over the alien console, transmitting the cannon's reactivation codes. There was no time left to escape. Jesse closed his eyes as white-hot energy engulfed the ship. His sacrifice had given humanity a fighting chance. The experimental WMDs detonated with a blinding flash, tearing through the Zarantine fleet. Ships vaporized instantly, leaving nothing but scattered debris. On Earth's surface, the remaining alien ground forces withered under a hail of radioactive fallout. In his command center, Uko watched in disbelief as his invasion force crumbled. His fists clenched, mandibles clicking furiously. "Activate the doomsday device," he snarled. "If we can't have this world, no one will." As Uko's loyalists scrambled to carry out his orders, dissent erupted within the Zarantine ranks. Zaraka, once one of Uko's most trusted lieutenants, gathered a band of rebels. "We were wrong about the humans," he told his followers. "They're not inferior. They're worthy adversaries. We can't let Uko destroy their world." Zaraka's forces stormed the complex housing the doomsday weapon. Plasma fire lit up the corridors as they fought their way through Uko's elite guards. Bodies piled up on both sides, the rebels taking heavy losses but pressing on with grim persistence. As the battle raged, Earth's deep space monitoring stations picked up an alarming signal. Lieutenant Sarah Chen stared at her screens in horror. "Sir, we've got multiple contacts entering the system, but they're not Zarantine." General Williams leaned in, his face ashen. "Dear God, it's them, the Krylix." The Krylix armada emerged from hyperspace, their massive biomechanical ships dwarfing even the largest Zarantine vessels. Humans and Zarantine alike watched in awe and terror as the Leviathans approached Earth. Aboard the Krylix command ship, Overseer X9 surveyed the planet. Curious, the Zarantine invasion appears incomplete. "The humans resist more fiercely than anticipated," responded Drone Unit 127. "Irrelevant," X9 intoned. "We will strip this world as planned. The Zarantine have served their purpose." As the Krylix's true intentions became clear, panic spread through the Zarantine ranks. Uko's propaganda crumbled in the face of this greater threat. In a hidden bunker, human and Zarantine leaders huddled together, former enemies now united by desperation. "We must join forces," urged President Lara Martinez. "It's our only hope for survival." Zaraka nodded solemnly. "Agreed. The Krylix must be stopped, despite the toll." Just then, a battered Zarantine scout ship limped into Earth's atmosphere. From its hold emerged a sight few expected: Jesse Reed, barely alive but still fighting. Medics rushed to stabilize him as he gasped out a warning about the Krylix threat. With Jesse's intel, the unified human Zarantine forces launched a desperate counterattack. Ships rose from Earth's surface, a ragtag fleet of salvaged vessels from both races. They threw everything they had at the Krylix armada: nuclear warheads, antimatter bombs, even suicide runs by fighters packed with explosives. The space above Earth erupted into chaos. Krylix weaponry warped the very fabric of reality, twisting metal and flesh alike into impossible shapes. Human and Zarantine ships fought side by side, their crews working in perfect sync, born of shared desperation. Aboard the lead ship, Jesse stood at the helm, his body broken but his spirit undefeated. Beside him, a Zarantine warrior manned the weapons console. They shared a nod of understanding as they plunged into the heart of the Krylix fleet. Jesse's voice crackled over the comms to all ships. "This is it, people. Not just for Earth, but for all life everywhere. We stop them here, or it's over. Give them hell." The ship shuddered as Krylix weapons fire tore into its hull. Jesse gritted his teeth, steering them towards the massive Krylix command vessel. A single tear rolled down his cheek as he contemplated the enormity of what lay ahead.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.